Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, Spartan Nation Radio. It's great to have you on the with us tonight. I now bring in Spartan Nation senior writer John Shop for our State of the Spartans football program. I want to say this to you guys. John and I do not rehearse. We don't, but purposely tonight, I have tried my best to how do I say this? I tried to be very quiet with John because there is a lot of emotion in Spartan Nation. I was sitting at a local restaurant the other day, and two people just came up to me. I've never met them before, pouring out their heart. By the time it's done, there are three groups of people. There was a total of 5 people, and then I was the 6th, but 3 different groups. One couple saying we're not really renewing our season tickets. I know for a fact season ticket sales are going to plummet. I know one person who personally told me he's going to drop 200 tickets, not renew them. So there is a lot going on. Donors are very angry right now. I've spoken to them. And I had someone say to me, aren't you concerned about being doom and gloom? No, I'm concerned as a media member to tell the truth. And we're not going to get it fixed until we rip off the Band-Aid in the scab and let it bleed. I am not a doom and gloomer. I believe in Spartan football. I've gone to around this place my entire life. But it doesn't do any good because when Michigan State was at their best, and they were in the college football playoffs and winning Rose Bowls, people said, oh, he's just a sunshine blower. No, there wasn't a lot to complain about. But when I started after the college football playoff to talk about concerns, and I have consistently done that in 16, 17, 18, and 19. At first, people were like, oh, Hondo, you're just mad at Antonio. No, I'm not. For a long time, him and I remained very close friends. But this stuff, Spartan Nation is now able to say to other people, great, thanks for finally catching up to where we've been for 4 years. And I did not want to talk to John about it because just like that energy I had the other day at that restaurant, I want you to hear 2 guys that care about the place having a genuine conversation about the state of MSU football. John, I give you the floor, my friend. I will take off when you're done.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because it takes me back to an interview with Mark D'Antonio in the summer before the 2016 season. When, if you go back and watch it, you'll get a kick out of it. I asked about the struggles of the running game in the 2015 season, and he was wondering if this was going to be, is this a negative article or a negative interview? I said, no. These are just numbers. Little did we know what was to come. My interest remains the same as it has been since I started working with Spartan Nation in 2009. That is to get it accurate and to get it right. There's a reason that it seems doom and gloom these days. That's because of what we've talked about in the recent past and recent years. At the same time, there was an incredible run and an incredible transformation of this football program led under Mark D'Antonio. The problem we have now is it is 2020. It's not 2012, and it's not 2016 or 17. And really what matters most is the next game, the next season, if you will. So right now, when you look at this football program, and you look at the state of Spartan football, my primary interest is to be as accurate as possible. Some people probably said, you're too complimentary years back. Others may have said, you're too critical. You know what's going to happen is history will pretty much determine that. And I love to go back and look at old articles and old projections, old prognostications of mine in the past. And some of them are pretty good and pretty accurate, and some of them are not. This year I thought this would be a football team that would turn the thing around and get to a double-digit win total. That was wrong. As I stare at the 2020 schedule in front of me now, I worry that this team will not even have a chance to play in a bowl game, and they will not even be playing in the final week of the year with a chance to make a bowl game. So in reality, that's the state of the Spartans as I see it. It's not meant to be doom and gloom. It's not meant to be blowing sunshine.
We're talking to Spartan Nation senior writer, the great Johnny Shop. We know him, we love him, we appreciate him. John has been a terrific friend of Spartan Nation and one of our most solid contributors. John,
For 11 years.
12.
We go way back. That's the thing. The kids keep on coming in and out, which I love. And I got to Michigan State at a transformational time. As I mentioned in the most recent Scope of the Spartans article, I got there close to the end of the Nick Saban days. Who know those were coming? But back then, you had some people who had a belief that things could go in another direction and take off. And I had that belief about Michigan State football very soon. I think the next turnaround is going to be a whole lot quicker than Mark D'Antonio had to deal with. But I do not like the direction that this is going right now. I think it is going backwards. I think it is slipping dangerously close to the worst of those same old Spartans. If people disagree, that's okay. I see a 25-24 football program since the Badger Bomb of 2016. Those are the stats and the facts.
John, you and I know this. Everything revolves around money. They say it's about student athletes. Well, earlier this week, Mark D'Antonio got a $4.3 million bonus, which meant he was paid nearly $9 million over a 13-month period. I'm not against that. I'm a free market capitalist. I think Tom Izzo is woefully underpaid. So I'm not against it in the least bit. But for the last 4 years, he certainly, in my opinion, has not earned the salary of which he has. And I want to ask you because people, there is a large group saying, look what he done. He took us to a Rose Bowl, get off his back. I believe in coach. That's fine. They're welcome to have a differing opinion. Doesn't make them bad people if they disagree. But if that's fine and we're going to accept mediocrity, then pay him mediocre money for an athletic department that needs the cash. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's such a long time ago in the world of college football. If you all didn't get to see Nick Saban this week before the national title game, go find the clips online and listen to him.
John, your phone keeps going. Your phone keeps going in and out. Go ahead. Say that again.
If y'all haven't seen Nick Saban on the pregame show before the national title game this week, you need to go find it. Find the section where he talks about how college football has changed. Major college football has changed. We're not playing the same game as we were 10 years ago. We're really not playing the same game as we were 5 years ago. Some of us around Spartan Nation, like myself, wrote about that in years past. What you have with Michigan State football is a whole lot of talk about how things used to be. There's 105 kids getting ready to start preparing for 2020. I don't think they care how it used to be. They care how it is now and how it's going to be tomorrow, really for the rest of their time on campus as a part of this football program. And in case you haven't paid too much attention to the mood of the players in this program, have you seen who has exited recently? Have you seen when people exited? Do you think it's common that you have a football player like Connor Hayward with an NFL lineage taking off the way he did? Or Ladarius Jefferson bailing out when he did? I don't think that's the case. I realize a lot of people are fans first and their evaluation is further back behind. The position I take with this organization since 2009 is evaluation first. If you're looking for sugarcoating, you're looking for the wrong place. And if you're looking for somebody to find something to complain about for no reason, again, you're looking at the wrong place. And the writing and the work that we've done in the past, the work that I've done in the past has spoken to that. The most important thing is to be accurate. 25 and 24 for a program that was in the college football playoff in 2015 is not so good. The last two seasons are unbelievable given the year 2017 was. The Saviors class of 2017 comes along and makes a difference. Nearly everything goes Michigan State's way. They blow out a top 20 team in the bowl game, and they look primed to step back up. They look primed to compete to get to that top level of the sport. We all know there's two people at the top level of the sport. That is Alabama and Clemson. There's other people trying to knock on the door and get in there, whether it's in Oklahoma or Georgia. At the end of 2017, Michigan State football was in position to jump back up there. What they've done since is take all the football guns around, point them at their feet, and shoot them. And until we see something change, I don't think there's any reason to expect that's going to stop. So right now, the state of the Spartans is waiting for some wake up and waiting to see what they're going to do about the last 2 seasons. Is that okay? Is that mediocrity okay? Is 6 or 7 wins a program win? I don't think so. Not for this program, not for where it's been as recently as 2015.
Spartan Nation senior writer John Schopp. John, I want to go to the national championship game because I thought there were 2 things that were very key for Michigan State in that game. First of all, you saw 2 great defenses, but went up against attacking offenses. And Mark D'Antonio earlier this year referenced his time at Ohio State, winning games 9-3, 12, whatever. And you just saw the 2 best teams in college football, and I don't think it was close. That's not true. I think Ohio State was close too. So I think you saw those 3 teams. All of them had great defenses. That's not true. I think Ohio State had a very good one. Clemson and LSU had great defenses that also had great attacking offenses. Does what we saw in the national championship game not mesh with what Mark D'Antonio says and wants? And when he says he has circles to finish, if one of those circles is getting back in the playoff and being relevant, is he going to have to change his offensive style?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think people in the Big Ten are that far behind, as D'Antonio appears to be. This game changed a couple years ago. It changed almost a handful of years ago now. Again, referencing what Nick Saban said in the pregame. There's no other way to play it. That's the way the game is going to be played from here. You cannot play Jim Tressel ball. This is not the Lloyd Carr era. Those eras are gone. Anybody playing that way is going to get replaced, and the team is going to take off. I'm not trying to knock Les Miles, but what in the world do you think just happened at LSU, folks? You listened to the game, you heard what Herb Street said about the archaic offense that was running around LSU in the past. They know that. That was the offense under Les Miles. That was a different era. The game has changed. You're talking about completing circles. There's a much better chance, Hondo, that Michigan State goes 0 for the Big Ten East next year than there is they get anywhere near back to sniffing for a college football playoff spot.
John, my second...
There's your circle. It's a bad circle. But, yeah, just don't roll back the tape, folks. I'm saying there's a better chance Michigan State loses every game in the Big Ten East next year than they have they come within 2 or 3 games of playing for a college football playoff.
John, the other thing that stood out to me is Mark D'Antonio told us last year he was not going to change a coordinator. He didn't want to give the keys to his program to somebody he didn't know, have to change everything. And he said, I just don't think it would work. Well, you just saw a guy named Ed Orgeron fire his offensive coordinator, bring in a 29-year-old kid that he didn't know, gave him the keys to the system, and oh, by the way, won a national title, and the next day the guy jumps to the NFL to be the coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, to me, this is another question D'Antonio has to answer. You said you didn't think it would work. Now that you saw it did work, why are you not following a path of somebody who's done it and succeeded? Is that a fair question to D'Antonio? And how much how much does his answer last year now look in light of what LSU just did?
Do you want to know how it looks, to be honest with you? It looks like a guy that's lost touch. It looks like a guy that the game has passed by. And you hate to say that. It doesn't take anything away from what he's done at Michigan State. But that answer has aged about as bad as possible so far. And it's going to look way worse if they don't do anything about it immediately. And that's because the game has indeed changed. So it's an extremely logical question to say, hey, what do you think now? Maybe there aren't candidates qualified enough. Maybe they haven't connected with the right ones yet. I don't think that's the case, but there's without any question. That statement was foolish. It was not current with college football at a major level in 2020. And it sure will not, 2019, it sure won't translate to 2020 and forward. And this is not picking on Mark D'Antonio. We're talking about the entire sport, the entire region of major college football, which to me is approximately 40 programs that can make a legitimate claim that they can compete for a national championship.
He's the great John Schaub, Spartan Nation senior writer. You love him. You appreciate him. I generally really love him as a personal friend. John, I want to go back to Michigan State now. I got a couple more questions for you I think are germane. Mark D'Antonio is in no danger of losing his job. We have reported that. We have been very open about that. We have told anyone that thinks that could happen or should happen, it's not going to happen. They're not firing him unless he gives them a reason other than anything they have now. There's nothing he's done or has done up to now that's going to get him fired. But this is my question that I have for you. We've already reported giving to the Spartan Fund is a struggle. And I was told by a very important part of the Spartan Fund who said to me, Hondo, coaches got to make changes, right? It's almost impossible to raise money now. If he doesn't make significant changes, he is, quote, and I'm not going to use the word on the radio, but it's the F-bomb, us up. And at some point, he's not going to lose his job. But does D'Antonio need to think about, this university, John, a lot of people act like, he's won for us. We can't do any, we need to support him. He's our guy. But Johnny hasn't been a volunteer. It isn't that the man has become a multimillionaire. And listen, I'm a free market capitalist. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, no, that's morally wrong. No, it's not morally wrong. Tom Izzo's underpaid. But to pay him what they pay him, he's not been a volunteer. Do you think he has an obligation to the university as a whole to say, listen, we're struggling because your football program is in bad shape?
Well, yes. Yeah, look, that kind of comes with the territory. This is a major college football position. Again, there's maybe 40 of them or so. This is one with top 20, 25 tradition. This is one with high level of success within the last decade. So you're playing at a bigger level. You're playing on a bigger stage. That's what's demanded. And it's not asking anything more than is demanded around the conference, around the division, really the most prominent division in college football. So I go back to something we talked about in the winter, early this winter. The problem is it doesn't look like Mark D'Antonio is all in to do everything he can to put Michigan State football in the best position to succeed and to win as well. And that's the message that's been sent by their lack of being willing to make the changes that need to be made. And it does start at the top, unfortunately. That's the responsibility and the credit/blame that goes with being the head football coach at Michigan State University. And it's not just the Mark D'Antonio thing. He has transitioned this program to a level where that's going to apply to the next 2 or 3 or 4, because you're playing in the biggest stage of the sport, and you've got to be all in. If not, you've got to do the right thing and step away, consider coaching at another level, or consider getting out of coaching. Right now, you look across the Big Ten, you look at all 14 programs and who is leading them, and you just look at kind of what they're doing and how they're carrying themselves in their business, and you kind of figure out who's just along for the ride, who's really there to make history, and whether or not there's anybody that's just got the thing set on cruise control. The problem is, it looks like right now, Spartan football under Mark D'Antonio is on cruise control. And where they are cruising is the same old situation, like Motley Crue has sung.
John, Mark D'Antonio, when he got to Michigan State, same old Spartans was they would get a lead, lack of discipline, and lose the lead and lose. And that's why people said, that's why you're Michigan State. Mark D'Antonio did a great job of fixing where same old Spartans became a different narrative. It became toughness, winning. But when you look at the last 4-year track record, this is a program in danger of going back to closer to the same old Spartans narrative than the new one. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. That's what I wrote this week. We've alluded to it in the past, and I can't. There's nothing else to say except the reality. It's so overwhelming that we're on the edge of it since that Badger bomb against Wisconsin. And what we've seen, especially the last 2 years, that's the alarm. Again, it's not that there's a free pass for 2018, but you look how competitive things were You wish there was some better quarterback play, some better coaching, and maybe a better scheme. The coach says, I'm just going to shuffle this stuff around, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different. Say, okay. And it went so unbelievably badly that that's now gone. There are no more free passes. There is no more benefit of the doubt. We're not playing 2013 or 14 or 2009 season this fall. The year is 2020. That is the reality. So if D'Antonio or whoever wants to talk about the past, they shouldn't be actively coaching the team for 2020. Michigan State football is going to be best led by coaches and leaders of the program focused on the future, focused on the present. But they got to be where their feet are. Their feet are not 6 or 8 years ago. Their feet aren't 3 years ago. Their feet are really up against the back of the wall right now. They're in danger of slipping out of the top tier of the Big Ten East completely. They're in danger of getting passed by Indiana. And if you think Maryland's going to take long to get turned around, let's just see how things look next Thanksgiving when we're at College Park covering that game.
He's the great Johnny Shop, Spartan Nation senior writer. Spartan Nation senior writer. Spartan Nation senior writer.